They say when you save a devil's life, you become responsible for his soul. But what they don't tell you is that sometimes, the devil saves you right back. In the heart of Manhattan, where crystal chandeliers cost more than a human life and champagne flows like water. Quick pause, comment where you're watching from, and if you're enjoying this story, please like and subscribe. I've got a lot more coming. Anna Callis stood invisible in her maid's uniform, serving the untouchable elite. She was 24, broke and drowning in medical debt. Her mother was dying of stage 3 cancer. Her 8-year-old mute brother, Ethan, was her responsibility. And tonight was supposed to be simple. Serve drinks, collect her paycheck, disappear into the shadows where people like her belonged. The Grand Astoria Hotel ballroom glittered with obscene wealth. Women dripped in diamonds while Anna's brother wore shoes with holes. Men casually discussed million-dollar deals while her mother rationed pain medication. The dress on Isabella Moretti cost more than Anna's mother's entire cancer treatment. Anna moved through the crowd like a ghost, refilling glasses, clearing plates, existing in the peripheral vision of people who never truly saw her. Years of service work had taught her the art of invisibility, eyes down, smile polite, movements efficient. She'd perfected the skill of being present without being noticed. But fate had other plans. Because tonight, Anna would do something that would make her unforgettable. Tonight, she would punch the most dangerous man in New York directly in the face in front of 300 witnesses. And that single reckless act of violence, born not from anger but from desperate courage, would shatter her world completely. Some stories begin with a kiss. This one begins with a fist. And blood. And a man who doesn't forgive. Ever. When Galileo Gallo entered the ballroom, conversations didn't just pause, they died mid-sentence. Spines straightened. Smiles became forced. Even the wealthiest men in the room suddenly remembered their mortal. He's tall, sharp-suited, with gray eyes that miss nothing and a faint scar along his jaw that tells a story his expensive Italian tailoring tries to hide. He moves through the crowd like a king surveying his kingdom, respected, feared, untouchable. Anna had heard the stories. Ruthless, violent, has killed men with his bare hands. The newspapers called him a monster. The FBI had an entire task force dedicated to bringing him down. But his foundation also funds scholarships for kids like her brother. The contradiction doesn't make sense. She watches from the corner as he takes his seat at the head table, surrounded by men who bend themselves into shapes of deference. His security detail fans out across the room, wolves in expensive suits, scanning for threats that would never dare materialize. Anna approaches his table, champagne glasses balanced perfectly on her tray. Her hands don't shake. Years of invisibility have taught her how to move through powerful spaces without trembling. As she leans forward to place his drink, Gallo glances up. Their eyes meet. For one fraction of a second, something shifts in his expression. Like he's seeing past the uniform, past the role, to the person underneath. Like he's surprised to find intelligence staring back at him. Then it's gone. He nods curtly and returns to his conversation. She's dismissed. Forgotten. Except she's not. Because in 20 minutes she'll punch him in the face. And he'll never forget her again. Anna's serving the back tables when she sees it. The waiter, young, nervous, sweating despite the air conditioning, approaches Gallo's table with fresh champagne. His hand trembles as he reaches into his pocket and drops something into Gallo's glass. A clear liquid. Dissolves instantly. Invisible. Anna's blood turns to ice. Poison. The waiter backs away quickly, disappearing into the kitchen. Gallo reaches for the glass, still deep in conversation, completely unaware. She has 3 seconds. Second one. If she acts, she'll lose her job. Her mother's treatment. Everything. Second 2. If she doesn't act, a man dies. She'll have watched it happen. Second 3. Every instinct screams at her to stay quiet, stay safe, stay invisible. But she can't. She doesn't think. She moves. Her feet carry her across the ballroom floor faster than her brain can catch up. The crystal chandeliers blur overhead. Conversations fade into white noise. All she sees is Gallo's hand reaching for the glass, his lips about to touch death disguised as champagne. She rushes forward. And before anyone can stop her, before his security can react, before logic can override desperation, she punches Gallo hard across the jaw. The impact echoes through the ballroom like a gunshot. The glass flies from his hand, champagne and poison spinning through the air in slow motion, and shatters on the marble floor. Liquid spreads like a crime scene across the white stone. 300 guests freeze mid-conversation, mid-laugh, mid-breath. Complete. Absolute. Silence. And then Gallo's cold gray eyes lock onto hers. Blood trickles from his split lip. His jaw is already swelling. But he doesn't look angry. He looks fascinated. "Well," he says quietly, his voice cutting through the silence. "That's new." The silence breaks. Gallo's security closes in like a pack of wolves, hands reaching for weapons, eyes promising violence. Anna's knees buckle. What has she done? "Stop." Gallo's voice is quiet but absolute. The wolves freeze. He stands slowly, touching his bleeding lip with 2 fingers, examining the blood with clinical curiosity. Then his eyes return to Anna, really seeing her for the first time. "Explain," he says. "Not a request. A command." Anna's voice shakes. "The waiter. The champagne. He put something in your glass." She points to the shattered crystal, the spreading liquid. "Poison, I think." "I'm sorry, I didn't know how else." "Marco." Gallo doesn't raise his voice. "I don't need to." One of his men steps forward. "The waiter who served this table. Find him. Now." The ballroom erupts into controlled chaos. Security sweeps through the kitchen. Guests whisper frantically. The hotel manager appears, apologetic and terrified. Anna stands in the eye of the storm, trembling, waiting for the moment when Gallo decides she's a threat instead of a savior. But he just watches her. Study her. Like she's a puzzle he's trying to solve. "What's your name?" he asked. "Anna." "Anna Callis." Anna Callis, who punches strangers to save their lives. A ghost of a smile touches his bloodied lips. How very unexpected. They find the waiter 3 minutes later, hiding in the walk-in freezer. Under interrogation, he breaks immediately, hired by a rival family, promised $50,000, too desperate to refuse. Gallo has him removed. Anna doesn't ask what removed means. She doesn't want to know. When Gallo turns back to her, his expression has changed. Calculated. Assessing. "You saved my life," he says simply. "That creates a debt. And I always pay my debts." Anna's stomach twists. She doesn't want to be in debt to a man like this. Doesn't want his world touching hers. But it's too late for that now. The devil has noticed her. And there's no going back to invisible. 3 days later, Anna finds an envelope in her apartment mailbox. Heavy cream paper. No return address. Inside, a check for $50,000 and a business card with a single phone number. Her hands shake as she stares at the amount. $50,000. Exactly what her mother's cancer treatment costs. Exactly what would save Ethan from foster care if she died tomorrow. Exactly the price the failed assassin was promised. The universe has a cruel sense of irony. She should refuse it. Should rip up the check and pretend that night never happened. Should go back to being invisible, safe, forgotten. But her mother coughed blood this morning. And Ethan's school called about unpaid fees. And the eviction notice is due in 2 weeks. She calls the number. Gallo answers on the first ring. "I was wondering if you'd use it." "I can't accept this," Anna says, even as her fingers grip the check like a lifeline. "You can. You will." His voice is matter-of-fact, not unkind. "Consider it payment for services rendered. I didn't do it for money." "I know. That's why you're interesting." Pause. "I looked into you, Anna Callis. Dying mother. Mute brother. Medical debt that would break most people. You work 3 jobs and still can't keep your head above water. The invasion of privacy should anger her. Instead, she just feels tired. What do you want? Dinner. Tomorrow. 7 p.m. My driver will pick you up. And if I say no, then you say no. The money is yours regardless. But I think you'll say yes. What? Because you're curious? Because you punched me in the face and I didn't kill you? Because your life is drowning you and I'm offering you air? His voice drops lower, almost gentle. And because I think you're tired of being invisible. Anna closes her eyes. He's right. God help her, he's right about all of it. One dinner, she says. One dinner, Gallo agrees. And she can hear the satisfaction in his voice. The certainty that one dinner will become 2. That 2 will become something neither of them can name yet. That night, Anna deposits the check. Pays for her mother's treatment. Buys Ethan new shoes. And wonders what she's just sold her soul for. The restaurant is the kind where menus have no prices and reservations booked 6 months ahead. Gallo sits across from Anna, his jaw still faintly bruised from her punch, and watches her with those unsettling gray eyes. You're not eating, he observes. I'm not hungry. Anna stares at the plate of food that costs more than her weekly salary. Why am I really here? I told you. Dinner. Men like you don't waste time on dinner with maids unless you want something. Gallo leans back, a flash of something. Amusement? Respect. Crossing his face. You're right. I want to understand you. Why? Because in my world, people act out of fear, greed, or ambition. You acted out of something else entirely. He touches his healing jaw. You had nothing to gain and everything to lose. Yet you still moved. Anna meets his gaze. So did you. You could have had me killed. Your men were ready. But you stopped them. Also curious. They sit in loaded silence. Then Anna asks the question that's been burning in her mind for 3 days. The waiter. What happened to him? Gallo doesn't flinch. He's alive. In a hospital. He'll recover. But not unpunished. No. Not unpunished. He says it without apology, without shame. The world I live in doesn't forgive assassination attempts. And the world I live in doesn't forgive accepting blood money. Anna's voice breaks slightly. But I took your check anyway. I paid for my mother's treatment with it. So what does that make me? Gallo is quiet for a long moment. When he speaks, his voice is softer than she's ever heard it. It makes you human. It makes you someone trying to survive an impossible situation with impossible choices. You sound like you understand. I do. He looks away and for the first time, Anna sees past the armor. I was 9 when my father was murdered. 10 when my mother died of grief. 11 when I killed my first man, the one who ordered the hit. His eyes return to hers. Every choice since then has been about survival. About protecting what's mine. The methods are ugly. But the alternative is death. Anna's breath catches. This is the truth beneath the monster. A boy who had to become a devil to stay alive. I don't want your pity, Gallo says sharply. Good. Because I'm not giving it. Anna reaches across the table, covering his hand with hers. The gesture shocks them both. But I understand now. Why you are what you are. And in that moment something shifts between them. The beginning of something neither intended. Something dangerous and inevitable and completely impossible. 2 months have passed. 2 months of dinners that turn into conversations that last until dawn. 2 months of Gallo's world slowly bleeding into Anna's. 2 months of falling for a man she knows she shouldn't want. Her mother's treatment is working. Ethan has a new speech therapist. The best in the city, Gallo arranged it. Their apartment is safe, warm, secure for the first time in years. But Anna lies awake at night, haunted by a question she can't escape. What is the price of this peace? She knows the money paying for her mother's treatment comes from extortion, from businesses squeezed dry, from families who couldn't afford to say no. She knows the security keeping Ethan safe is purchased with fear. She knows that loving Gallo means accepting blood money, and means benefiting from a system she despises. But she also knows her mother is breathing easier for the first time in months. She knows Ethan is smiling again. She knows that refusing Gallo's help wouldn't make the world less cruel, it would just make her family another casualty of her principles. So she made a choice. Not because it was right, but because she couldn't bear the alternative. And every night she wonders, does that make me complicit? Or does it just make me human? Tonight, Gallo takes her to his penthouse. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Manhattan. Art worth more than most people earn in a lifetime. A world so far from hers it might as well be another planet. I need to tell you something, he says, and there's something in his voice that makes her stomach drop. What? The family that sent the assassin, they know about you now. They know you saved me. And they're not happy about it. Fear spikes through her. Ethan, my mother, are protected. I have teams of 24/7. No one will touch them. He steps closer, his hand cupping her face. But you need to understand what being close to me means. You're a target now. Anyone who wants to hurt me will use you to do it. Anna should pull away. Should run. Should choose safety over this impossible, dangerous thing growing between them. Instead she kisses him. It's desperate and reckless and everything she shouldn't do. But Gallo kisses her back like she's the only real thing in his world of shadows and violence. Like she's air and he's been drowning. When they finally break apart, Anna whispers, I choose this. I choose you. Even knowing what it costs. Gallo's eyes are fierce, protective, possessive. Then I'll make sure you never regret it. But they both know some promises are impossible to keep. The attack comes on a Tuesday morning. Anna's walking Ethan to his speech therapy appointment when the black van pulls up. Men with guns. Professional. Efficient. Terrifying. She doesn't think. She grabs Ethan and runs. They don't make it 3 steps before she's surrounded. A man grabs her arm, rough, bruising, and she screams. Ethan's eyes go wide with silent terror. Then the world explodes. Gallo's security team descends like avenging angels. Gunfire. Shouting. Blood on concrete. Anna shields Ethan with her body, praying to a god she's not sure she believes in anymore. When the smoke clears, the attackers are dead or fleeing. Gallo's men are bleeding but standing. And Gallo himself appears, moving faster than Anna's ever seen him move, his face a mask of cold fury. He doesn't speak. Just pulls her and Ethan into his arms and holds them like he's terrified they'll disappear. You're hurt, Anna says, seeing blood seeping through his shirt. It's nothing. His voice is rough. Are you okay, Ethan? Ethan nods shakily. Anna realizes she's trembling. They were going to take us. I know. Gallo's jaw clenches. This ends now. That night, Anna sits in Gallo's penthouse while he makes calls in the other room. His voice is quiet but absolute. Final. She knows what he's planning: war. Retaliation. Violence that will ripple through the city like a shockwave. When he returns, his eyes are hard. The people who ordered this will be dead by morning. Galileo. No. He kneels in front of her, taking her hands. They came after you. They came after Ethan. That is a line you don't cross. Not with me. Not ever. Anna sees it then, the full scope of what loving him means. The protection is absolute. But so is the violence. You can't have one without the other. I'm sorry, she whispers. I'm sorry my being in your life caused this. Gallo's expression softens. You didn't cause this. The world we live in caused this. All you did was make me realize I have something worth protecting beyond power and territory. He touches her face gently. You made me remember what it feels like to care about something other than survival. Is that good or bad? I don't know yet. He pulls her close. But I know I'm not letting you go. Anna holds him back, feeling the steady beat of his heart, the warmth of his body. This man who kills without hesitation but holds her like she's made of glass. This impossible, dangerous, complicated love. "I'm not going anywhere," she promises, "even if it damns them both." 6 months after the punch that changed everything, Anna stands in Gallo's penthouse watching the sunrise over Manhattan. Her mother is in remission. Ethan is thriving. He spoke his first word last week, "Anna," and they both cried. Life has become something she never thought possible. Stable, secure, almost peaceful. Almost. Because Gallo is still Gallo. He still runs an empire built on fear and violence. He still makes decisions that keep her awake at night. He still has blood on his hands that no amount of love can wash clean. But he's also the man who sits with Ethan for hours, patiently teaching him to read. Who holds her mother's hand during chemo appointments. Who looks at Anna like she hung the stars in his dark sky. The contradiction never resolves. It simply exists. Gallo wraps his arms around her from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. "What are you thinking about?" "About how nothing is simple," Anna says. "About how I fell in love with a devil and he turned out to be more human than most angels I've met." Careful. That almost sounds like a compliment. It is. She turns in his arms. "You're still dangerous. Still ruthless. Still do terrible things." "I know. But you're also the reason my family is alive. The reason Ethan can speak. The reason I learned that sometimes the right choice and the good choice aren't the same thing." Gallo touches her face, that familiar gesture that's become her anchor. "I'm not redeemed, Anna. I won't pretend I am. I'm still the man who ordered executions last week. Who will order more next week if necessary." "I know." And she does. "But you're also the man I saved. And the man who saved me back." "Was it worth it?" he asks quietly. "Punching a mafia boss? Everything that came after?" Anna thinks about that night in the ballroom. 3 seconds to choose between safety and integrity. 3 seconds that led to this. Love built on impossible choices, security purchased with blood money, peace balanced on the edge of a knife. "Yes," she says finally. "Even knowing everything I know now. Yes. Because sometimes salvation doesn't look like righteousness. Sometimes it looks like a maid in a red uniform deciding that one life, even a devil's life, is worth saving. Sometimes it looks like choosing to love someone who exists in shades of gray instead of simple black and white. Sometimes it looks like accepting that you can't save the world. You can only save the person in front of you. And hope that's enough." Gallo kisses her softly, reverently, like she's the miracle he never expected. And in the growing light of dawn, Anna Callis, former maid, current keeper of a devil's soul, kisses him back. They say when you save a devil's life, you become responsible for his soul. What they don't tell you is that the devil might become responsible for yours too. And that might be the greatest salvation of all.
Like and subscribe if you enjoy watching this story. See you on the next one.